Booktube, it's Louise the Big Head Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day, wherever it is you are and whatever it is you're doing. So here I am. Here I am. This is my second video that I'm releasing at the moment. So I have just recorded my disappointing audiobooks. I hope you've watched it and enjoyed it, and you are now able to steer clear of the disappointing audiobooks that I have listened to recently. And I'm now going to record, oh yes, a Friday Reads. Now, it isn't actually Friday, but I'm not going to have time to record it tomorrow. And I am determined. Oh yes, this is my determined face. There you go. If you see it in future, you now know I am determined. I am determined to do Friday Reads. Because Benedict has now changed schools and he's at school in the village, and I have a lot more time. Not masses more time, but I have more time that he's not around and I can record. And I have made a little decision. Why can't I say that word? Decision. That's better. That I shall do Friday Reads, and I shall record it and upload it without faff. So I'm not going to faff with it. I'm going to record it, upload it, get it out. So they could be a bit rough and ready, but they will at least be weekly. And then I will do at least one other video a week. Oh yeah, so that is my plan from now on. So part of Friday Reads is the fact that you can talk about what you've just read, what you're currently reading, what you're going to read in a short, quick fashion, hopefully, not long videos. And I thought I could do those, and as long as I don't faff with them and try and make them masterpieces, I just record them, and we can then have a weekly chat. Then it'll free up some time to actually look at other videos that I can make and actually concentrate on making them better, such as some of my knitting and my crochet, my yarn chats, which I'm going to record in a minute. I'm going to record my next yarn chat. And then I can look at the Casual Christie Club, which is where we read Agatha Christie books. We could talk about that. I've got other plans of other videos that I want to do coming up. So I've had a couple of weeks break. So I went on holiday, and then we got back into school and got in the routine. And I've been using that time to have a bit of a consider, a bit of a think. And I thought, yeah, I'm recommitting to you, Booktube and YouTube, and I'm going to do regular videos, and we'll see how they go, and see how whether you like them, whether I like doing them, and whether there's something there for you. Hopefully you'll like them. Hopefully they will, won't they? I've got the goddess here with me, looking over me, hopefully giving me lots of good spirit and good vibes, being ever present. She always is in my life. So yes, we'll see where we're going to go. But first things first, it's Friday Reads. Now, I would like to eventually get some kind of jazziness so that when I say Friday Reads, something can happen. But at the moment, we're not worrying about that. We're just going to get it up and going. So what have I been reading recently? So the idea is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what I've been reading. So what I've just finished, the last book I finished. Are you listening? I might even write this down. I won't write it down. I'll write it down when I'm watching this back to make sure it's suitable to go out and I don't have my boob out or something like that. You know, you do have to watch the back to make sure you don't do something completely stupid that you don't realise you're doing, like you're doing the whole thing with the boob out. Or I mean, obviously, I probably would notice that, but maybe I wouldn't. I think I would. I think I'd notice. I mean, you can't actually see them because I was sat quite close, which is nice for you. But if I was way away... Anyway, let's not go down that road. That's what happens. That's what happens is I get distracted and I start talking about things like that. And you don't want me to start talking about things like that, do you? No. So yes, what I'm going to do is last book I've read, current book I'm reading, next kind of books that are on my kind of, you know, because I like to have an idea of where I'm going. I do think about the book that's kind of taking my fancy. Last book I bought. So it won't take the place of hauls, but I don't suppose I'll be going to be buying that many books in future because I would like to read some of the books in the library that I have, which is kind of, my books are through there, and that's why I'm doing that. It's not the universal symbol for a library. That'd be that, wouldn't it? Taking it off shelf. Anyway, so yeah, so that's the plan. that's the plan. Okay, so last book I read was Jaguar in the Body, Butterfly in the Heart. Now, I haven't shown you this. Look, I got this. By Yakov Darling Khan. Now, I believe that's how you say that, but it is Jewish, because he's Jewish. That's his Jewish middle name. So I may be mispronouncing that. And if I am, I apologise. But isn't it a Y? It's a Y? Yakov Darling Khan? That's what I was going to say anyway. So, Jaguar in the Body, Butterfly in the Heart, the real-life initiation of an everyday shaman. I really enjoyed it. I did really enjoy it. He details a lot of ceremonies, a lot of ceremonies that he's taken part of, which I was surprised at, because in shamanic terms, quite often when people are doing shamanic writing, they don't detail ceremonies that other people have conducted. Now, they were all things that he took part in, and they were all written from his perspective. So he wasn't writing about what somebody else went through, which would be really against, what would happen for a shaman and in, shaman circles or anything like that. But he does explicitly talk about exactly what the ceremonies are, and I was surprised at that. I was surprised at the detail that he went. He probably would say he left out important things, but I was still quite surprised about that. And it is an interesting story that he goes through. And it's interesting because he talks about himself as a feminist man. And it was the conflict with him identifying at a young age, like in his late teens, early 20s, as a feminist man. And so almost rejecting his masculine identity. And anything that came up that was masculine, so like wanting to succeed, wanting to be strong, wanting to have an identity as a kind of manliness, or the kind of manly traits, he really had a problem with, because he was like, I'm a feminist man, and so therefore all those masculine traits are very difficult. And there's an awful lot about in the book about reconciling that, and I think that's quite a fascinating thing for somebody because I am a pagan. I'm bringing Benedict up as a pagan. He has full choice to choose whatever he wishes to, but I'm bringing him up as a pagan, with a kind of, and I am a feminist as well, as is the husband. So it's interesting because it's kind of, it does bring that kind of dilemma of, I want him to embrace his masculine side as well. I want him to feel his masculine and his feminine side, because we both have both in. This is a conversation for another time. But that was quite interesting. So it got me thinking about that kind of thing. And I think that was quite important to be aware of that. As a woman bringing up a son, it's important to have these kind of considerations, that you don't want to, kind of honouring the masculinity in him. He's 10. It's a burgeoning masculinity. I mean, it'll come out in the next couple of years, won't it? But no, it's a good thing. So it's about kind of thinking about that. And I find these things kind of utterly fascinating. I found it very readable, very, very readable. I'm not sure I would recommend it to people that aren't involved in that kind of, if you're into that kind of spiritual reading, you like that kind of metaphysical reading, or that metaphysical memoirs, I would say go for it. If you're not, then don't. But that was what I've just finished. I've also kind of given up on. What have you given up on recently? I've given up on this. Kelley Armstrong, Frostbitten, and I'm trying to hold it in such a way that it doesn't give a glare, because I've got the window right here with a natural light, so it's going a bit shiny. Frostbitten. So I went to the local library and I picked up this Frostbitten. I also picked up Omens by Kelley Armstrong, and I was like, all right, lovely. I haven't read Kelley Armstrong in years, and I used to really like her. I really liked Bitten. I remember getting, when it first came out, Bitten, which was her first one, and the first one where you meet this character, who is Eleanor Michaels, who is a werewolf, and all the stories, kind of paranormal romance, suspense, mystery, is how I would describe them. Quite racy, quite adult, but it's really about the paranormal side. And I think I'm too far. This is quite a long way through the series. I haven't read a lot of the ones beforehand. I read kind of periodically. I would read one, and I think it's too long since I've read it. I wasn't involved enough in the story, and I got to about what page did I get to? I got to page 150, and I was avoiding reading it, and that is my cue for not either get through to the end quickly or give up. And I just thought, I'm going to give up on this one. So Frostbitten is nothing to do with the story or the writing or the book or anything. It's more the fact I haven't read enough of the back series to care about what is happening. And without that, it's a flat story. So, yeah. So I have got this one, which I'm showing you the back, which is called Omens by Kelley Armstrong. Now, this is the start of a new series. Her parents are killers, now she's the target. So I don't really know what this is about, but it's the beginning of a series. I do like Kelley Armstrong, so I think I am going to give that one a go. So that's in my to be read. So what am I reading? I have just started A Duty to the Dead by Charles Todd. Cat's just come in. Hello, it's Molly. She's not going to come up. So A Duty to the Dead by Charles Todd, who is a mother and son writing duo. Yes, a mother and son writing team. It was recommended to me, I think, by Crazy for Books, who lives over in Canada. I think she said to me, have you ever read Charles Todd? This is years ago. And I was like, no. And she's like, you should. And so I ordered this in. It took ages for it to come in. And it is a Bess Crawford mystery. It is, excuse me, set in the First World War. Or it is after that, is around that time. So it is a mystery, and it is set in the First World War around that time, which is, you know, absolutely where I love. I love reading those kind of books, so I shall report back about that. I'm not really selling that, but I've only just started it, and I kind of don't want to read the back because I don't want to kind of set my expectations, but I know enough about it to know that I'm probably going to love it, and then I think I'm going to read that. So those are my two that I am currently reading. I'm not currently listening to anything on audiobook because of disappointing audiobooks. I haven't found my one to listen to at the moment. My two latest books that I've got in, I've got one on my Kindle and one in physical copy. This was a physical copy one. Jessica Fellowes, The Mitford Murders, 6 Sisters, a Lifetime Mystery. Now, I love reading about the Mitford Sisters. Oh yes, Second World War, that period, aristocracy, great family. Love reading about that, and I have read several books about the Mitford Sisters and by the Mitford Sisters because they were authors as well. But this is a fiction book. It's a murder on a train in 1919. Done. And it's lose yourself in the first of a new series of mysteries set amid the glamorous lives, or the lives of the glamorous Mitford Sisters, by Jessica Fellowes, author of the best-selling Downton Abbey books, because her father, Jessica's father, Julian, wrote Downton Abbey. So, yeah. And it was £2 on Amazon. It was a recommended book for me, and I was like, oh, that looks nice, The Mitford Murders. Love the colours, love the cover, love the idea of it, love the price, £2. So I was like, yep. I plucked that out of the screen, and I thought, and it came the next day, so that could be a very, could be a read, couldn't it? Could be a read. And the other one, which I actually ordered this morning, and I can't seem to get it in physical copy. I would have got it in physical, to be honest, but it was a lot cheaper as a Kindle book. And I'm just trying to get the cover up. Can you see that? The Red Magician by Lisa Goldstein. And it's a winner of the National Book Award. I think it was 2014 this came out. And the reason I'm reading this, the reason that I got this, was that I was watching Books and Pieces, the magnificent booktuber that is Books and Pieces. And she's starting a new book club, online book club. I think a lot of the discussions are going to be on Goodreads, and I'm not a huge Goodreads fan, but I may well bumble over there if I read the book and have a lot to say about it. But she's talking about It's her Lady Vault series, Lady Vault Book Club. Well, that name alone, I just thought, yep, yeah. I want Elizabeth. I want to join. I want to join that. And it's her Lady Vault series of fantasy and sci-fi written by women that is forgotten about. And it's one of the reasons that women's writing, especially in the science fiction and the fiction side, and well, in fantasy, they get sidelined. Oh, there aren't. It's all so white and male. And the reason is that women have been writing science fiction since science fiction began, and fantasy, but it's not remembered, it is sidelined, it's not highlighted. And so she's bringing some of the books out of the Lady Vault and making us read them, or suggesting that we read them. And I'm just like, sign me up for that. That sounds great. And I'm really going to keep on top of this as far as I'm concerned. So that's going to be one of my books to read. It is in this month, it's September. So I have those 4 are going to be my books that I am going to read in the next 2 weeks. There we are. You heard it here first. And there we go. That's my Friday reads. So what are you currently reading? Yes, please. I would like to know. If you do a video, if you're a booktuber and you do a video, please leave the link in the comments below so that I can come and have a look at it. If you can't leave a link because of technology, then tell me that you have done the video and I will go and have a look at it. That's the joy of Friday reads. You tell me what I've got to read. And what I've got to watch so I can hear what you're reading. And there we go. How lovely is that? It's going to be far longer than I'd hoped it's going to be, but I will get quicker at this and it will be brilliant. And we will do Friday reads every week. This has been lovely, BookTube. Let's do this again.